The next free pick, I'm going to go to the Midwest. I'm going to take looking at Boise State at Oklahoma State. Currently, Oklahoma State minus 2.5. When I did this game, broke this game down on Tuesday, the line was 3, and I snatched up Boise State +3. You got two high-powered offenses going at each other in this game. Boise State's averaging 617 yards a game, 461 through the air, 256 on the ground. Oklahoma State's just a touch better at 674 a game, 376 through the air, 298 on the ground. The differences between these teams, and the reason why you want to take Boise State is they have the better defense. Um, they have a lot more experience on defense. They have 10 returning starters, so that means they do travel well. They're used to traveling. It's not going to be impacted by the Oklahoma State atmosphere by playing on the bigger stage. They've already traveled once this week. They went down, took care of business in Alabama, knocking off Troy. They went back home. They kicked around UConn for a little bit, and now they're ready for a real challenge, Oklahoma State. So you got two high-powered offenses, and obviously, and usually shootouts like that, you want to get points because you never know which offense is going to outshine the other. I think Boise State's will because they have the better defense to go with it, and then a couple of little fun stats to go off is Oklahoma State is 0-8 as favorites versus opponents off back-to-back straight up against the spread wins. And that's Boise State right there. I mean, look, they went on the road. Like I said, they smacked around Troy, laid the huge chalk down there and covered that without a problem. They came back home. They laid even more chalk against a very, very poor UConn team, and they didn't have any issues there at all. So I mean, I would, I wouldn't be surprised if there was 100 points scored in this game. Another keynote, Boise State, they got 3 players back from injury. Two of them, one's a wide receiver. He's a sophomore. He's expected to make a big impact this year. The other one's a defensive tackle. So look for that to help slow down Oklahoma State's run game a little bit there. Neither one of those guys have played yet this year. And then they have another guy back that was injured in week 1, linebacker. So fully healthy Boise State +3 points at Oklahoma State. Heading down south for the next free pick, Middle Tennessee State travels to Georgia. Georgia's laying heavy chalk, 32.5. I mean, can you be surprised by this? Look at what they did to South Carolina last week. That was on the road. Uh, Overcame a lot of trends last week. Was struggling in South Carolina in that big rivalry game. So it looks like a clear path towards the SEC championship for Georgia now. At least that's what everybody's saying. I don't believe that. You got to win every game. You got to show up every week, and that's why they're 32.5 point favorite. You want to play for a national championship, you got to beat Middle Tennessee State by 35 points or more, and that's exactly what I expect Georgia to do. As I'm going to lay the heavy chalk with the home team here, and they're going to go between the hedges, and they're just going to kick the crap out of it, Middle Tennessee State. I was a backer of MTSU in week 1 against Vanderbilt. That didn't work out very well for me. And if you compare the SEC schools, right, Vanderbilt to Georgia, if they were to play, I think Georgia would probably be 20-point favorite. That sounds about right. Maybe plus or minus 3, depending on whether they're home or away. I wouldn't expect Georgia to lay anything less than 20 points at Vanderbilt, actually. So, closer to 30 at home. Um, it, and Vanderbilt took care of Middle Tennessee State. So I I don't know. I just don't see this line. I don't see this being close. Yeah, Middle Tennessee State's offense. I was expecting bigger things from them. They are putting up 390 a game, 292 through the air, 97 on the ground. Brett Stockstill, he's doing. I mean, he's good. He's a good quarterback. He's a coach's son. I mean, he's the main reason why I picked MTSU to pull the upset against Vanderbilt in Week 1. But there's no comparison to this UGA offense. I mean, they're 200 or 500 yards basically of offense, 490 total, 210 through the air, 280 on the ground. The defense is only allowing 244, 170 through the air, 74 on the ground. MTSU's defense is allowing 403. So they're not going to be able to stop Georgia. They haven't stopped anybody yet. What makes them think that they'll be able to stop this Georgia offense? Uh, and Georgia plays Missouri next week, so that you don't have to worry about them like looking ahead, pulling players looking ahead. And this is another thing. Missouri, I just talked about the Missouri game a little bit ago. Missouri's a pass first offense. So Middle Tennessee is actually a great warm up for the Missouri because they run very similar offenses, pass first, very reliant on the passing game. So look for UGA to stay out there, stick with the starters a little bit more on defense, get some experience flying around, stopping this passing game, so that they can go in next week and they can take care of business at Missouri. So, but first, they're taking care of business this week at Middle Tennessee State. Take Georgia, lay the heavy chalk. This one's not going to be close. It's going to get ugly early. I could see this being 63 to 7, 63-14 maybe. It's going to be ugly. Georgia laying the points. Staying in the SEC for the next game with Louisiana Lafayette making the trip to Starkville, take on Mississippi State, minus 32. Another heavy chalk team. I like them. I'm going to take the SEC, lay the points here. Few teams have looked as good as Mississippi State has through the first two games. On the offense, averaging 578 yards a game, 276 in the air, 308 on the ground. 308 yards per game on the ground. There's some teams that are struggling to get 300 yards total offense, and they're doing it running the ball. As impressive as the offense is, the defense is just as impressive. 234 total yards allowed per game, 139 through the air, 95 on the ground. Louisiana Lafayette, not much to base them off of. To be honest with you, they played in week 1 against Grambling State. That's it. They took a bye week 2, so I guess they're preparing for Mississippi State. They're going to come in and pull the upset, but I'm not worried about that because Mississippi State is 10-2 in their last 12 versus opponents with rest, and that's against the spread. So I don't expect that to change here. Louisiana Lafayette, they got some other things going on down there. It's a brand new head coach. It's their first road game. They're going to a hostile environment. Where they're going to get their offense from against this defense. They're a run first offense, and this is a defense that's only allowing 95 rushing yards a game. So just where is their offense going to come from? And then how are they going to get stops on defense? They have 3 returning starters on defense. If they had 10 returning starters, you would have to ask yourself, how are they going to stop this Mississippi State offense? But again, it's another mismatch here. It's not going to be close. You got SEC school, hostile environment. New quarterback, new head coach, road game. It's going to be ugly early. This could be another 63-14, 70-7 game. Mississippi State probably scores a touchdown on every possession. Lay the heavy chalk here. Mississippi State minus 32.